Actually, it's quite comfortable in here. Beats the hustle and bustle of our world. Oh, welcome to World of Monsters. I'm Monster Master Arthur, and welcome to mini-series or TV series Monster Reviews, where we review the monster of the show, not the show itself. Now I know what you're thinking, it's too early to analyze this beastie with the given information, but this episode is also dedicated to Gargamel Gold. And be sure to check out his channel over here on YouTube as well. So thanks Gargamel for this request. And as far as the Demogorgon is concerned, there's more than enough information out there to come up with quite possible speculations. So in this episode, yes, we're going to be discussing the Demogorgon of Stranger Things. So before we jump too deep into the science of the Demogorgon, let's take a look at its history from our perspective in this reality, in this plane, and see how the concept actually hit your TV screen or monitor screen. The Demogorgon is thus far the star monster of Stranger Things, which is a miniseries that was released on Netflix on July 2016. Now at the time of this filming, Season 1 has ended and there is talk of a Season 2 for 2017. Netflix did in fact renew the series for another run. Stranger Things was written by brothers Matt and Ross Duffer and executive produced by Sean Levy, who was also producer for Arrival 2016, The Night at the Museum movies, and a variety of other movies and TV series. And the Duffer Brothers also wrote and directed Hidden 2015 and wrote episodes for Wayward Pines 2015. The Demogorgon is a concept of the Duffer Brothers themselves, who actually stated that it is an interdimensional being that has more in common with a shark from Jaws than Pennywise from It. When a monster enters our dimension, it's like a shark breaching the waters. Very much like a shark, it drags its prey back into its home where it feeds. The practical effects of the Demogorgon were acted out by Mark Steger, who did act by the influence from the shark in Jaws. The creature design was inspired by the great and strange works of H.R. Giger, Clive Barker, Guillermo del Toro, Masahiro Ito. Aaron Sims and his team at Aaron Sims Creative Visual Effects were excited to tackle the project of the Demogorgon and the otherworldly things within the show. He had previously worked with the Duffer Brothers on Hidden and other high-quality, high-grossing movies such as the Ninja Turtle movies, the latest Ninja Turtle movies, Independence 4 Resurgence, Sucker Punch, Pete's Dragon, and upcoming movies such as Uncharted, the remake of It, The Predator, Aquaman, and many, many more. Needless to say, an extremely talented artist and team with tons of experience from concepting to visual effects. What better people to take upon such an idea, such a story that pushes the boundaries of the mind and what we perceive as the real world. So let's take a look at where and when the monster actually spawned within this series. The Demogorgon's first appearance in the show. We saw it lurking through the forests before it captured Will Byers. And this, which we find out later in the series, was after a major experiment was enacted. The experiment was managed by Dr. Martin Brenner, who was intrigued by the monster's first mentioning by Eleven after the previous isolation tank experiment. The doctor made her undergo the same process again, within which she finally made contact with the beast. Within this sort of astral realm, it wasn't quite the upside down world, but it wasn't this world either. It was sort of like a realm between dimensions, or even a realm of the mind. After she did make that contact and the beast became conscious of her, it opened a portal that released the creature into this world. So that's the beginning, that's what we've seen in the series. So now let's take a look into the actual origin of the creature, and this is where we all bring our minds together and figure out where it actually came from, what it actually is. So yeah, that's how the story introduced the creature to us, but what are its actual origins? Well, take into consideration these theories. The Demogorgon could just be a random predatory creature naturally spawned in the Upside Down through that dimension's evolutionary structure, or along other creation theory lines, such as the idea that as God created animals of this plane, so the devil, or a god as well, created those of that. Here's another theory. Was the Demogorgon indeed a Demogorgon? Did 11 or L just pick up a random D&D Dungeons & Dragons monster miniature from the table, or was there some sort of significance? Everything happens for a reason, right? Well, then we should take a closer look at the Demogorgon of Dungeons & Dragons. That Demogorgon first appeared in the Eldritch Wizardry 1976, later in the original Monster Manual 1977, 1986 in the rules, then it was detailed as a deity in the Monster Mythology Advanced D&D 2nd edition, 1992. It appeared as a demon lord in the Book of Vile Darkness, 2002. Again in publications of 2002, 2006, and 2007. Another Monster Manual in 2008, and I believe the final Monster Manual of 2009, where it was also on the cover. And it seems most recently in 2015 in Adventure of the Abyss. So in D&D lore, it appeared as an 18-foot reptilian with two baboon heads upon long snake necks and having tentacled arms. The two heads representing two battling personas that cannot take over one another, for they hold aspects of one another. In 3rd edition D&D, they appeared with yet different beastie heads, and with the miniature having a more reptilian/dragonoid form. Depending on the head, it can either drive the opponent insane, or it can charm them. And if both are focused, then the opponent can be hypnotized. The tail can actually drain the life energy off the enemy, and the tentacles can cause rapid rot. Now that's freaky, and I can understand if you want to go home and stop playing this game. But we're not playing the game, we're talking about the creature. It is said to live in the 88th layer of the Abyss. Is that the Upside Down realm? Also known as Abyssum, Brine Flats, or Gaping Maw. So it seems quite different than the Demogorgon of Stranger Things, but could be a metaphorical representation, the two heads symbolic of the Demogorgon's two-realm crossing, or well, the idea that it is a corresponding manifestation of El, or even an aspect creation of her. Her being the head that charms, and the Demogorgon, the head. And the Demogorgon, the head that invokes fear and craziness. It can go with the theory that the Upside Down is a contrasted copy to this world, our world. Now how about the legendary Demogorgon, the Demogorgon of our mythology? Well, this Demogorgon, my friends and fellow monster lovers, first appeared in an ancient poem commentary circa 350 to 400 AD. The Demogorgon was referred to as also a deity or demon. Again, well done, D&D writers. Though the name's precise origins are shrouded in mystery, it may have indeed carried a name that was not permitted to be known. Voldemort? Or on a lighter side, God of the Earth, sharing the name with Demiurge, or Demiurge. Maybe we're giving the Demogorgon of Stranger Things a bit too much power and complexity here. Attributing this godliness to it just seems too much compared to the land shark sort of creature that it appears to be in the series. Another consideration, looking back on the D&D Demogorgon. Humans can actually not summon the Demogorgon as it's too magnificent of a beast, but instead they can summon a weaker temporary aspect of it. And that's what the Stranger Things Demogorgon might just be, a simpler aspect of a much more powerful being. The Demogorgon that may have laid those huge eggs. The eggs therefore being the birthers of the aspect more simpler Demogorgon that can also later feed on them for additional nutrition. There's also the theory that the Upside Down world is not a naturally coexisting realm, but rather a mental manifestation of El's psyche, demonstrating just how powerful she could be. Therefore, the Demogorgon possibly being one of El's inner demons, her fears and doubts, per se, that was released into physical form. It makes sense as YouTuber Brian Seeker theorized. He explained that the nature of a sensory deprivation tank is to sort of clear the mind, instead of going outside, going inside. Hence again, the egg being of the Demogorgon's hatching, or worse yet, a product of a much greater inner demon, not even of El's own mind. And the released concept art also supports this idea, as it shows the Upside Down brighter, not as gloomy, which can possibly signal that El is now happier. Yet if the Upside Down has always existed as a sort of echo of our world, maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's just that. A darker aspect of our reality. A hell, for instance, and the Demogorgon is in fact a demon. A servant of the devil itself. As mentioned in his 1667 poem, Paradise Lost, by John Milton as a demon of chaos that exists between hell and earth. There's another correlation. Another speculation, as you can see many here are rising up, is that the Upside Down is a world of the dead, and the Demogorgon serves as a sort of guardian to scare off the lost and wandering beings, or to kill them in order for the realm to properly accept the new souls. It may also be a guardian, whereas the Upside Down serves as a gate between earth and hell, a sort of midworld. Or it could be a guardian in a world or gate within time travel, hence the Upside Down in our world being similar but different. For more speculation, let's draw our attention back to L, back to 11. Being named 11, the number 11, brings up the idea that there are or were at least 10 others that were experimented on for similar or even same abilities, and this could suggest the Demogorgon to be a spawn of another great mind similar to 11's. And maybe not just the Demogorgon, but the entire Upside Down realm. Keep in mind, 11 was never shown to have seen Will, yet she recognized him in the photo, which also brings up the strange fact that the Demogorgon is not attracted to her blood while it is to the other humans. Also, we don't know how much torture Elle previously went through, but the idea that the Demogorgon might be connected to her, to be a part of her, points at the scientists' torturers to be the actual invokers of this entity through their horrendous actions with her. So when 11 first made contact with the creature, major things happened with the opening of the doorway. So what happened at the end of season 1? Did she destroy both herself and it? Or something more spectacular that combined to be a whole? A more supreme being, and either greater new threat or a new heroic character to battle the new upcoming, also greater foe. Okay, so maybe we got a little bit distracted and off track here, but let's jump back into what the Demogorgon is, and when season 2 comes out, see if any of our theories were correct. YouTuber Planet Calvin had an interesting theory, corresponding with the previous, where the Demogorgon is indeed the manifestation of another tormented mind, but instead of it being another test subject like 11, it being her mother, and the trauma over the believed miscarriage. Fascinating, as the mother-daughter bond is known to be legendary. We can also therefore theorize that the Demogorgon is a creation of Will's. The idea of Will having cancer or a similarly bad disease either created this Demogorgon aspect or attracted it to him, which creates for the continuation of the story. But that's just another thought out there, as Will's mother presents him as sort of a weak child. Another perspective we can take on all of this is that the Demogorgon is actually an alien, and the Upside Down a paralleled universe or other dimension, again explaining the similarities of the plane. The Upside Down could also be a dream world, and a Demogorgon a nightmare, a manifested nightmare into this reality through Elle's enormous power. Let's take into account the Gorgon title, the Gorgon part of the name Demogorgon. Here we'll briefly explore the concept of the next beast to be revealed within season 2. As again, YouTuber Planet Calvin mentions, the eggs clearly seem too big to be the Demogorgon, and considering the miniature presented in the last episode of the first season, the monster they brought out in the game, the mother birthing those eggs may be a Thessalhydra, or even a Hydra, considering that it is also noted in D&D for producing eggs. If so, the Demogorgon could be a side of 11, and the Hydra heads, the boys. If that's so, let's see how many heads it will have, and how many of the boys will continue their heroic acts. Also, considering the root structure, or what could possibly be a serpent or eel feeding or giving birth into Will, creating that later seen slug, or baby Hydra, or other types of Thessal creatures, as the Thessal creatures of D&D actually compose multiple hybrids, with the worm thing being like a face hugger in the Alien movies. If it is indeed the Thessal Hydra, it makes even more sense, not just from the reproductive side, but from its appearance as well, as one of the concepts of the Thessal Hydra has monstrous heads surrounding a circular gaping mouth of teeth. And who does that remind you of? the Demogorgon. And back to the Gorgon part, there is such a thing in D&D known as a Thessal Gorgon, like the Thessal Hydra but with a bull head and not the big round mouth. And also consider the real Hydra, the Hydra of our realm, these little tiny creatures we find living at the bottoms of lakes and rivers. This tiny carnivorous creature, well, it reproduces asexually, meaning it can be male or female, depending on what it needs to be to continue the survival of its species. While in reproduction, its fertilized eggs develop a tougher outer coating and eventually fall to the bottom of the aquatic landscape, whereupon those eggs will hatch into nymph or baby hydra. Under this zoological influence, I could see the Medusa miniature popping up in a future episode as more developed members of the Hydrozoa animal family reach a body change to adulthood, which is named Medusa. Alright, so I got sidetracked a little bit with this other creature, so let's return to the Demogorgon. But you gotta admit, it was pretty fun and interesting. The Upside Down realm is a realm of many theories that can branch out into further and further speculation. So I think this is a fair stopping point until we see more that is to be revealed about this creature. No, we're not done yet. Make sure you check out part 2, where we further explore the science, the anatomy of this creature and its abilities.